First
I
of
don't
all,
know.
I hope people have watched the vlog. You guys also tell me what you all thought of the vlog. तुम लोग को तो अच्छा लगा. It is episode 132 by the way, and we'll be having a guest on soon. You'll meet him soon. But yeah, what did you guys think of the vlog?
बहुत सही था यार. I तो told you only, and it was funny, really funny. I think when you started it off, na, Berlin, I got the vibe there only. It was really good, and you carried it. I think the whole thing has one vibe.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah, that was
the
the
anti
attempt.
vlog. अच्छा था. Very well
I think
thought.
वो personality भी तेरी आई उसमें. It's not like you kept saying कि I don't know how to log ये वो, but it's very much there. It's
That is
coherent.
वो तो मेरा बड़ापन है. We're already
Hello.
recording.
Yeah.
Waste no time getting into the podcast already.
Amazing.
We still met, I think, in Goa some time back, but you haven't met. Have you ever met either of them before?
Yeah.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, chalo, good.
We met
Uh,
at Kashish, I remember, where
We met at Kashish last, but I
Yeah.
also remember you were there at wedding, no? Or
Yeah.
Yeah,
I was
I
at the
remember.
party. Yeah.
Wait,
Yes.
which
I met
the
you there
band?
as well.
I was also there.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you were.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Shit. I remember now.
But Himangshu I haven't met since he made my favoriteest film of all time, which I have shown to so many people, and I still have a watch party for it once again.
Wow, dude.
Wow.
That's great.
Thanks, sir. Thanks a lot. Yeah, I remember like we met in college last, and it's been like 10 years now.
Yeah. I had a mental
Almost.
breakdown after I'd watched that film because I was like, fuck, he's made something so insane. What am I doing with my life?
He gave you like an exit, but you were out of, just for context for people, you were in batch what, 2013?
2013, third
Yeah.
batch.
We were batch 2016, so you were already gone by the time we entered.
My batch was very intellectual.
Wait, I think Sumedh's frozen. He's back.
Oh, sorry, I live in a village, and the occupational hazards of choosing a hipster place like Goa.
We're all representing from different parts of the world.
Yeah. Are you still in Berlin?
I am still in Berlin for
What
the
a guy.
foreseeable future.
Look at him, he's dressing in black already.
I am, dude. I've already decided this is my vibe. I'm about to go to an orgy, so let's get this done pretty quickly.
Yeah, better get snapping, I guess.
Late नहीं होना चाहिए orgy में वैसे भी. Anyway, so I think we can just start the episode now. Let's not stand on ceremony. So yeah, welcome to episode 132 of the DissContent podcast. It's me, Aditya, with Bharat and Himangshu as always. But we also have another guest with us today, Sumedh Natu.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, and Sumedh, we know since a long time. We spoke about this a little earlier about he was a senior of ours from college, but you left college the year that we entered.
Yeah,
So,
that's right.
and you were saying that people in our college are very intellectual and very, were...
No, I was saying people in my batch were super intellectual.
Oh, okay.
So they would really discuss every black and white film they could find.
Right.
When it came to the actual dynamics of making things, we were far behind what you all did. Also, like, didn't really have that culture as much back then of just getting out thing. Like everyone wanted to be like Tarantino on their third day of college.
Yeah, absolutely.
But I thoroughly enjoyed college personally. I know a lot of my friends have had like severely opposing views of
course. Yeah.
But I actually like when I saw your batch's work for the first time, I was like, man, yeah, these are proper films. Like for the first time, I was seeing like decently well thought of narrative threads and simultaneously with like really great technical skills for a student level. Like your film in particular, Kanna, man, like I didn't think that was possible at that level till before you all came in.
This is
crazy.
So I think we've got
name तो बता दे आदित्य थोड़ा name drop
Cowman, it is on this channel. Unfortunately, it is still the highest viewed video on this channel. Okay. Please fucking watch my vlog. It came out 2 days ago. Check it out.
That tells us about our career
About
trajectory, right? Since college.
Peaked in college, bottoming out since then, and I think that is enough glazing of both Himangshu and me. You can glaze Bharat also if there is Bharat's film Shamsher was also very cool. But let's just introduce Sumedh a little bit. Sumedh, or would you like to introduce yourself? What do you do? Because I know you do a bunch of things,
I dabble in anything that will make me a little money. So I'd like to believe I'm a above average jack of all trades in comedy, in filmmaking, and I work around like interviews as well right now.
Right. And you, like in interviews, you do a lot of brand work I've seen with Netflix and.
I work only with Netflix
Okay.
because they treat me well and decent people to work with.
Right.
I'm now at that stage in my career where I would rather do dumb work for people that are kind than do great work with people who are assholes.
Complete assholes. Yeah. This actually is another good segue, and Himangshu, Bharat, feel free to jump in whenever. Which is that I feel like there has been an industry takeover by SIMC crowd. Where even Netflix is like, I know, like, and someone else, so many people, even in other companies, they're like all over the place. How do you guys feel about that? Do you think AS is to be credited?
Not AS is to be credited. I feel like when people came to our college, that's what they didn't realize. Like the biggest sentiment that I've heard post leaving is that college didn't teach me anything. And I agree with that, but I don't think we were there for like the actual value system of how filmmaking works. We were there to find like 400 kids across 3 years who would give us employment over the next 10 years of our lives, whether we deserved it or not. So that way, it has worked out fairly well.
Fairly well.
A lot of the people that I know. And it's a fulfilling, like it's an ecosystem of people giving each other work.
For sure.
In Netflix's case, it's the first time in my life where I'm working with like an organization which I think has a very decent work culture. And that's why I like working with them. It's the first time where I actually feel like really praising the way like a big corporate is to work with.
I particularly like your work with the food on their channel, which was a couple of years back, I think. Recently, it's not.
Yeah, we're just restarting it now for another release that they have. But yeah, it was really nice. I managed to have 4 years of my life just traveling across India, eating, and I guess talking to some really cool people at it.
I'm very curious about food. I know you were very inspired by Anthony Bourdain, as are millions of people, but what was that the sort of thing that made you want to do food content?
I really like eating. I'm a big fan of the idea that if I like doing something and if I have a parallel skill that can somehow make me work around it, I will find a way to be associated with the field without the hard journey that the average person goes through to work there. So when it comes to food, like there's no way I wanted to work in a kitchen. It is the worst thing that you can experience in your life. And I had done it for a couple of months in Bombay after I left Buzzfeed. So after that stint was done, I was like, there's no way I can do this for sure. And I'm very glad I did it because it really helped me understand how kitchens work. And I was like, you know what, I think I have a skill set where I can make some like narratively decent stuff around food, which can help me have like some amount of closeness with all my favorite restaurants and cuisines. So yeah, good show. And
very nice. That you slipped in BuzzFeed over there. Tell us about, because actually this ties into the college thing as well. I feel like all of us got very lucky also because the time when we were graduating is when the internet was kind of just about to boom. So all of us were just ready to be picked up somewhat. Some of us more than others.
I kind of feel like the way my parents talk about like how they visualized television for the first time in our country was how we kind of experienced the internet. And like when I started working with BuzzFeed, it was like a very organization-led internet space. The age of the creator was still not a thing.
Right.
And yeah, it was very, wow, I really feel like a dinosaur talking about this. Hamare zamane mein. But yeah, basically, BuzzFeed was the first job that I had post-college. And I was freelancing with them for a year and a half. which was great. And the moment I started working with them for
I hated it. Okay.
but learned a lot. And a lot of my colleagues in BuzzFeed kind of did really well. Like one of them was Quinta, who now has Abbott Elementary. And it's kind of
Oh,
like surreal to see like
yeah.
someone who you were making like dumb YouTube videos with, like now just walk into the Emmys and like
Wow.
make a great show. Yeah.
Amazing. I don't know whether we want to talk about stuff that we've watched lately or because I really want to jump into some of the film stuff. Like I'll just give you a primer on how our podcast also works if you have or haven't seen
I
before.
have actually seen a few of the previous episodes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So yeah, we just kind of give our opinions on films. We try to be as pure and raw as possible. But so there's a lot happening right now in the world of
Correct.
content and comedy and film and everything. Which one would you? I think let's start with the less spicy one because I want to ask you something. Have you read the piece that is making the rounds? A little piece on Medium by an anonymous writer called Howard Spiel.
Yes.
Oh,
Have you come across that piece? Bharat,
No.
if you'd like to tell us what that is about and tell Sumedh as well.
so Howard Spiel I think his or their account is now deleted on Twitter, and they wrote an article I think a couple of days back, which was about how Tiger Baby's storytelling is full of these very sweeping and generalizing kind of ways of looking at the subaltern or the ways of looking at stories of the less privileged while trying to be a bastion or a voice for them. So it kind of takes each and every example of each and every film that they've worked on, and it kind of critically looks at how they've done a bad job at making it truly representational this thing.
Right.
And I think yesterday it got taken down and the Twitter account also disappeared. But by then people had already screenshotted it and archived it and all of that. So it's on Reddit, I think. And then there's an earlier piece by the same guy where he's criticized similarly how, I mean, how Somen Mishra at this one, at Dharma, right? He is, yeah, dramatic. How he's kind of I mean, I don't know. I'm not very sure about this one, but he says that he's kind of co-opted the indie space and
Right.
put it to use for the Karan Johar brand of cinema and failed, and
Right.
consistently failed upwards, basically.
The
So
argument being that he's sort of, in an attempt to, like when Karan Johar and Dharma were facing a slight downturn, they got in Somen Mishra as a person who would be like not a yes man to this thing and somebody who they would consider as an outsider to their world. But it has ended up being like, as the article states it, like neither mass nor crass, like it's sort of.
Yeah, I know what you're trying to say. I get
Yeah,
it.
so uh that those I thought so I was just wanted to bring up those pieces because I think it's very interesting and now they're kind of gone away. What do you think about uh Bollywood as it exists today, especially these companies who, I mean, at least Tiger Baby, I can say that a lot of us would love to work with people like that. In fact, Bharat and I had pitched a show to them as well some time back. But
yeah,
what do you feel about the state of Bollywood a little bit? If you are keeping tabs on movies,
I
yeah,
keep tabs here and there. I mean, truthfully speaking, I have two hats. The hat that I see as a producer, where like I guess creative integrity sort of like sweeps away from my head. I get it.
hmm,
Uh, every decade there is an upheaval of people, especially old players in the game, trying to figure out what a newer audience wants. So
hmm,
uh, I can understand both their moderate successes as well as sweeping failures. Um,
hmm,
but if I'm to wear the hat of someone who really enjoys watching movies, I don't think the statistic has changed that there are about 5% of movies a year that I've consistently liked for the past since I've been watching films.
yeah,
I don't think that's ever going to change.
fair.
hmm,
Here, there's 5% movies made that are always going to be excellent coming from you. And I think if we do really well in Bollywood, it'll go up to 8 or 9.
For
I
for
don't,
sure, yeah.
I don't think it's going above that.
Yeah,
Bollywood
great point.
film that you recently enjoyed? It's very
And
hard, na?
I didn't
Bollywood
mind Mrs. honestly.
misses, huh?
I have not
Yeah.
watched it.
I've
Not
seen
sure
Really
why.
good.
the Great Indian Kitchen,
The
right?
Great
Yeah,
Indian Kitchen.
The Great Indian Kitchen was is one of my favorite Indian films, and I truly like, if you cook a lot or if you've spent enough time in a kitchen, I truly feel like I don't remember a film that can capture the microaggressions of taste
Yeah.
like that film has. It's of course like very differently. It's obviously like a very gendered topic. Like, I'll cook for fun, and even my moderately above average attempts will always be cheered on by people around me, as opposed to someone who has to do that for a living every day. But I kind of liked what Mrs. did to the change, the demographic change to the north. And I think they played very, very cleverly with the class background and the economic class change uh, of like what would be like to live in a city and have the same situation unfold. And I really I feel like Sanya Malhotra really puts forth like a really measured performance. I like that a lot. And it's very tough to achieve in Bollywood, like that kind of subtlety. Like, we are always like acting max people. Like, even a film about like imprisonment at home will have like a huge monologue, coming in.
Yeah.
So I really like a subtle film that does. I think that's what's like pissed off a lot of the people watching it as well.
People have been critical of it, and for various reasons. I didn't read all the reviews,
I think
but
the
I think
comparison, right? Bit from the original.
they
Yeah,
comparing the
it
themes and
will.
the same.
Oh, sorry, please continue. Sorry to cut you off.
No, I didn't. So I'm also trying to understand what the criticism is about, and
A
you can.
lot of the criticism centered around men, like basically, like I guess getting angry about the fact that the man works more or less alone in the
Yeah.
office space, but uh, the wife he's expected to help the wife at home. That was like the, I guess, more raging male argument against it. The other one, the more nuanced film argument that I had seen, was just of how the film does not manage to capture a lot of the nuance of the Malayali film, which I don't agree with. I think it's pretty done pretty damn well, and I love that director, Arati Kadav. Had you seen a previous film, Cargo?
I
I
have.
have seen
I
Cargo. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've seen the yeah. Sorry.
I love what she does with the limited resources that she gets, like to make like, maybe not be the best science fiction film ever, but like from an Indian point of view, with the minimal resources that she had, I think she pulled off a great job with that
For
film.
sure. In fact, my appreciation for Cargo also comes from that. I don't think the film per se was as impressive uh, to me just on a film level, but the context that it's set in India, where you don't see where sci-fi means almost like Kalki was sci-fi, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
just so over the top and so pointless almost, It really felt like it's sort of, it's a definitional change where I would love to see that, in fact, for period films. I think the last time someone did that in a
Yeah.
history film was Shatranj Ke Khiladi, where,
yeah,
a period film can just be about two guys
yeah,
or
Yeah.
just
yeah,
about
for
two
sure.
people having a conversation rather than about kings and all this stuff and big stuff like that. So I like
Yeah.
that
In
about
Cargo, I
Cargo.
remember the one thing that I really admired about it was that she made like a very, very like a sort of a religious sentiment of what it's like to be in purgatory around science fiction. Very
Right.
interesting. And I like that she managed to put forth such a philosophical idea into like a bit of a like chill comedy to watch in a lot of ways.
Right.
I like the genre blending, like when you don't have resources, like how you can play with narrative format.
Right.
What I am, I mean, what I recall the most about the Great Indian Kitchen, since we are talking about that, and I've not watched Mrs., and which is why I want to know from you if they've covered that, uh, uh, was the religious angle, right? Where was towards the end of the film, I mean, spoiler alert, there was this kind of criticism, very head-on criticism of this ritual, which is prevalent in Kerala, right? So I'm assuming that that's also a reason why people have sort of said that it goes easy on.
Yeah, it does. But you know what? I don't. I think Mrs. was a studio-led remake. Was it?
Hmm.
Hmm.
I think
Yes,
it was by
Yeah.
Prime, if I'm not mistaken, or
Herman
Z,
Babajan.
one of the
Yeah.
two.
Yeah.
It was,
And
yeah. Yeah.
I'm the moment that comes in, like
Hmm.
circumstances change. Like you
Yeah.
do not have
Definitely.
the freedom to be able to interpret a script the way you want. So I
Hey,
don't blame her, but I feel like within the constraints of, I'm
Hmm.
guessing, the 80 different layers of feedback that she must have received
Yeah.
before the final film was made, I think she still pulled off.
Yeah.
Z is
Fair
also
enough.
building like a pretty impressive alternate slate. Like I watched Kanu Bell's new film recently. What's it called?
Dispatch.
Oh,
Dispatch.
nice.
Yeah, did you watch it? Have you
Haven't
watched
seen
it? It's a really, I'm sure it's a very divisive film, but it's also one of the most impressive I've seen personally
Oh,
in
nice.
the last few years. It's just been slept on. It's available, I think,
एक
online.
logline बताना. Tell.
It's about so actually I met Kanu Bell. He was in Berlin for a screening of this, and
This guy.
This is his flex now, which
This
is,
is
oh, I
flex,
met
yeah.
this guy.
I saw the smile coming before he even said
Yeah.
it.
So no, because the thing is, the movie he did now during the Q&A when the screening was happening, I asked him this question. This is the movie about Jaideep. Do you guys know who Jaideep was? He was a
Yeah.
journalist back in Bombay. If you follow crime reports, so back in the day, I read this book by him called Zero Dial. He was one of the most popular. I think he used to work for Midday. Crime reporters. He had a lot of contacts in the criminal underworld. So I thought the film is about him, but he was very shy of like sort of admitting it publicly. But he almost said it. So it's about this crime reporter in 2012 who's played by Manoj Bajpayee, and he is going through like just layers within layers within layers of the deepest, darkest, murkiest world of politics, media, business, and cricket. So it's about a guy and mafia. Like he's chasing this one case around, but it's not a traditional journalist takes on the world kind of fare, because it's more like he's a fucking asshole. Like he's not in it for any kind of public service at all. Like that's his
Right.
character. Also, it deals a lot with sex and gender, a lot, and I think very head on for a lot of people. I feel like a lot of people will not like that part as well. But I would highly recommend the film. I
Nice.
think
Yeah.
it's so anyway.
That's very cool.
Z is produced another, I think,
Dude,
quite a
Z
few.
has also in the past produced this guy's films. Nagraj Manjule's,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
He's
Yeah.
he's
Did they
produced.
make Jund?
Yeah,
I think so.
they co-produced Jhund. So which is, I mean, very very, it wears its politics on its sleeve that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
So
I think
I'm
Subhash Chandra also had some issue with the government like last year or
yeah.
something after the Sony deal crashed out, and then ever since then I think he's been
No, they've been critical. They've been critical,
yeah,
very
yeah.
weirdly critical of the government.
They flipped now.
Which
That's
is
Sudhir Chaudhary
yeah.
also left, but
this criticism, no, this government criticism that we
Yeah,
often talk about, I don't think it's there. They have a problem with subtlety. Like I like the more subliminal a message is, you can criticize the shit out of them if
right.
that way. The moment it's out in the open, right? The moment like someone like we do it through misogyn, they have no problems. You can like do
Right.
but the moment it's vocalized and it's loud, yeah, that's when like the crackdown happens.
Or
the
if you
moment it
add
is
a
for their
rhyme,
audience.
Yeah, correct.
the moment you add a
The moment they
rhyme
go like,
scheme,
इनको समझेगा ये, then
इनको अपनी ऑडियंस को समझ आएगा ना, तो फिर
correct.
प्रॉब्लम है.
Correct.
the moment you add a rhyme scheme and a guitar and
Yeah.
a H
Yeah.
logo to the back,
Hardcore.
yeah, that is when they have a problem with this stuff. I remember Sumedh, because you also do stand up, so I had seen one reel of yours back in the day. I can tell people this because the reel is already out there. So where I think you were wearing a kurta or something, and you're like, the best part about the satire is I can join the goons.
Yeah, they come in to break the place. I'll just join them.
And you speak
Nice.
Marathi also, so that also helps.
It's a plus.
Yeah, dude.
Massive plus. Should we talk about the Kamra thing? We can
Let's go. Of course
let's
we should.
fucking do it. So did you guys watch the whole special?
I have 10 minutes left, but yeah, I've covered a lot.
नहीं, I didn't see it.
मैंने
I
नहीं
saw the
देखा
bit.
actually.
I just saw that bit.
Just that bit, yeah.
मैंने पूरा देख लिया. I just thought, मतलब, it's a lot of it I felt like was, yeah, he's been saying this shit since a while, but I think the fact that I actually think because it's the songs and because it's so catchy and it's so clippable that it reached a wider audience than it would. Otherwise, I don't think anyone expects everyone expects this from Kamra. I don't think. But what is the vibe in the comedy scene right now, Sumedh? I think that's what we want to hear from
the
you.
vibe is it's over.
Oh fuck.
Okay, for context on this, the songs that you heard, right?
Yeah.
in the stand-up era of 2013 to 2015, pre-internet, these songs were very popular. A bunch of them had songs. And there was Kamra was there, and Kamra was like hot shit at that time. But a bunch of comedians would end their sets with like musical comedy. It was
Karunesh used to do a lot of
Karunesh used to do it. Karunesh had a bunch of really great songs.
Yeah.
Which are going to be like exited out of his memory now.
Yeah. I remember one song. I'm not gonna say it was a riff on Jaane Gaon Mera Jigar Gaya Ji. I won't say anything else.
Let's not take out a friend.
I think we all have lived pre-2015, so it's okay. We can
but it used to be a thing that, and I know that Kamra is probably the only guys who can like manage to do this on YouTube with the following that he has. But yeah, immediately, like once there's a song, it's like a jingle, man. Like it's out to them directly. So it's very scary. I have seen this happen. I have been working parallel to comedy at least. Like I used to tour with Veer for a year, and I worked with AIB for a while. I have seen this police breakdowns happen once a year for 8 years. So it's not new. But I've seen the police attack Veer, not attack, like stop Veer show in Jaipur on stage. I've seen the shit that went down after because of a joke on Abdul Kalam. I've seen the AIB roast aftermath after I'd finished shooting it.
Oh, you guys had shot the roast.
Yeah.
True.
One of the extra cams on it.
Right.
We would have done anything to help them back then. Like big admirers.
Yeah.
I've seen this go down with like Munawar. I've seen this go down with another friend Praneeth. Like every year there is one. So it's not new. Summer's one was quite surprising.
Yeah.
Because it didn't have a religious angle to it. I didn't expect like that much of a furor for what is a non-religious angle. Just around obscenity.
Yeah. I think in the Summer case, in my limited opinion, I think it was the fact that there was beer biceps with him. Because and we spoke about this on our previous episode. Like I know older relatives of mine who watched beer biceps. You know what I'm saying? I think when those guys are not ready for, I guess the rest of India was ready for Summer's humor. Not ready for Summer's humor.
Yeah, but I think it was more that parents thing. Like just parents becomes like Indian culture. If you say that's about friends or whatever, that's fine. But the moment it becomes about like the moment you can like dangle the Indian culture
Mummy Papa
around it, then it's over. But
correct.
yeah, man, it's horrible. Like this was like so scary to watch. When you're there at that moment, you know, I feel so angry at times. Like we get, I'm nowhere near the scene the way I used to be in Bombay, but I've heard so many people from the left like often criticize and go like, you'll talk about all these unimportant things on stage. But you know, when the right wing gets offended, they show up in solidarity. They come together and they go like, we have to finish them together.
Right.
Together. When this shit goes down with us, at best what we get are like, shares, and subscribes on YouTube.
Yeah, correct.
There is no people coming together. There is no act of solidarity of like, let's meet outside the Sena Bhavan and protest.
Right.
Let's actually show up in numbers to say that this is wrong.
I think the last time it happened was the CA NRC protests in Mumbai.
What comparison? For that they needed to show up, man.
Citizenship.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course.
That was like affecting like 20% like of the population at a national level.
Of course.
Yeah.
Here, at least you expect like, even if 100 people show up in front of like, to have like a protest, it means something. You're creating like public space, a public space problem. You're showing up and like, that won't happen.
I want to bring Himangshu into this discussion because Himangshu, it's your city is kind of the fulcrum of this because Guwahati was mentioned in the song as well, and Guwahati is where
Himangshu,
clearly the best hotel. So, what is your opinion as somebody who is the judge of this issue?
Yeah.
I don't have any opinion, bro. Whenever I see this, I have a very overall, बहुत zoom out opinion है कि I want more of these to happen, but like I don't want violence.
What?
Like I don't want it to. I'll tell you how it sounds weird, but just hear me out. Whenever there's an outrage over like a comedy special, I feel like it should be followed by immediate outrage, and like it should be so full of multiple different things happening like that, the previous one just like dies down. I think Sumedh
Okay.
should have just like uploaded another one, or I think Beer Bicep should have just like ignored, or
Yeah.
even Kunal can just at this point just do another interview or do another stand-up or just like move on, and at least me as an audience, I don't care. I would watch the other one. I'll just continue. And I feel like वो फिर पहले वाली बात दब जाती है ना, तो ठीक है. जब तक I'm just an audience, right? I'm not like going anywhere and fighting and arguing or whatever, right? I don't
Correct.
have any opinion as such. So I feel like if we play it right, if they play it right, it can. And I'm not smart about this also. I know कि I don't have a better solution. If people are angry with
Basically,
me.
you're saying Sumedh has to put out a very offensive video very, very quickly, so that it keeps bouncing. It keep it
It
like a
needs to,
rolling
yeah.
offense.
It's a
Yeah.
wave, and then you just
Yeah.
like surf it.
Yeah.
It's so weird. When I got the idea for my film Vinchu, because they had smashed the upper
Oh.
room of Habitat at that time.
Ah.
Now we've come, and there is literally a scene in my film which, like, is the ditto copy of how they like insulted, like how they burned effigies of Samay and like tore posters of Samay and all outside Habitat. So I was like, wow, this is crazy. It's
Yeah.
happening again right now. And cut to 2 weeks later. Now it's still over room of Habitat. So hopefully I got a better film idea.
बीच वाला रूम अभी बचा हुआ है आई थिंक
हाँ,
जितना
एक तो
जितना
बचा
टाइम है बचा लो
हाँ.
बट one thing very unique about this case and what is kind of blowing my mind not just in the realm of comedy not just in the realm of civilization in Mumbai because I've grown up born and raised in Bombay and I've seen the Sena the MNS matlab I've had at least especially in the early 2000s like every once a month school would be off because for some reason the city was shut down you know and
Yeah.
it was very common and it was always one of these two parties that something was happening and this is the first time I have seen a guy who's been attacked by these people double triple down. Kamra has been putting out stuff. He put out that song, one of the songs from the video with footage of them breaking down the it's hilarious.
And that guy.
Yeah, and I'm like, man, this is either he has some backing that none of us know of, that means he's untouchable for whatever reason, but or he just is a guy who's lost all fucks, to give. I mean,
I think it's a bit of both, honestly, and I think that's a good thing.
Yeah.
And I like Kamra is like probably the most influential comic we have right now. In the sense that what he says, people take cognizance of.
Correct.
And it's important what he says because, like, the reaction of anything justifies that people care.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And they know that if he makes fun of them, like I feel like he has single-handedly been the one person to take down that Siachen mein hamare jawan lad rahe hain argument. Like now through one joke that has been diffused,
exactly.
There's a voice that's attached to it. So they know that it's important, in some way.
For sure. I think in general with YouTube and social media, with what Dhruv Rathee, I think I know a lot of people joke about this, but I think he had a massive role to play in the past general election where I mean, if the man is clocking like 20-30 million on like, days before elections and it is sort of single.
I'm quite sure, but I don't know how much.
No, man.
Like even the views on like Kamra and him matter to like at a whole. It definitely informs like reasonably rich, like upper middle class voters.
I disagree. I disagree.
I disagree. Yeah. I feel like I've personally seen people. I mean, again, this is anecdotal, but in public spaces where people from all walks of life, travel or whatever, I've seen people watch his videos. Right. I'm not talking about Kamra. I'm talking about Rathee.
Dhruv Rathee.
Yeah. Right.
Dhruv Rathee. So Dhruv Rathee, at least at that point, when he was taking out these videos, and I remember he had made a very fairly basic video to us, which was like comparing Modi to a dictator, right? But it was blowing up because it was on my family group, right?
Yeah, that's
right.
Yeah.
It was being shared. There were counter arguments being shared by my own like right-wing, family members. So it was affecting them, is what I'm saying.
Right.
So it
Also,
kind of cut through some kind
I
of,
think in that specific moment, I don't think he's influential as much as the media otherwise, but in that specific sort of time period,
Yeah.
he had an outsized impact compared to the media. And there was a piece on this, I think, on News Laundry or somewhere where they were talking about the numbers that, legacy media channels are getting versus what this guy is getting in the run up to the election, which is known as the most, eyeball grabbing time for news.
Yeah.
So anyway, I think the point still stands that Kamra is clearly is reaching the right or the wrong years. I'm sure you will also agree that there will be a very quick bounce back from this in the comedy scene as well. Or do you think this
There
is
will be
different
a
from?
bounce back, but I still feel like the core issue that we have is a non-unionized comedy space,
Hmm.
not backed by like politics itself. The reason
Yeah.
why like parties can attack comedy clubs or people with impunity over here is because we have no political backing. We have no labor backing.
Yeah.
There is no recognition of like a union over here that is backed. We need that in a lot of ways. And like, man, it's also unfortunately like populated by people from a certain economic class where it has
Hmm.
never been sensed as important. But a
Correct.
union will guarantee you like legal protection in some form. A union will guarantee that if a political party is coming for you, there will be people from a B political party at least that can be present for
Correct.
some opposition.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And I don't know, I hope like at some point we see that as something that we can.
I think that kind of unionization is also, I mean, of course, this is much more physical and present, right? When people are destroying your venues and all of that. But that kind of representation, all of us artists need in India.
No, but
Because,
my point is in the film space, at least, like we know of the existence of unions, right?
SWA.
hmm,
Yeah, they're there. I don't know how effective they are, or I don't know how much they'll actually help in case there is a similar incident in the screenwriting space. But
hmm,
they are there, and there is a bunch of people that you can access or contacts that you can
yeah.
through them. I have used union help in the past, and it has helped me to a certain degree.
Yeah.
So
Even
I
Bharat,
don't know.
you had a
Yeah.
positive
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Even I have used the help of SW and they've helped me like
yeah.
Very
monetarily.
effective.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
So maybe if the result is not say 100% of what we want achieved out of like our campaigns, but even if it's 50, it's still very significant.
Correct.
And I feel like that should be the future is like to actually dabble in politics uh, in whatever way we can,
Yeah.
but to use the legal system that we have or to use like actual systems that we have to protect
Is
our.
there a conversation at least in the in that space
It
in the
has
comedy
happened.
space?
It has
Hmm.
happened before, but man, the scene is very fragmented from inside.
Hmm.
It is also a bunch of very unfortunately uh, big egos, and you need honestly, I feel like it's an economic problem. It is the mindset that comes out of being a part of the world's India's top 5%, where you feel internally like this issue will affect everyone but not me. Till
Hmm.
it happens to you, and then you suddenly go
Correct.
like, okay, maybe I can't do this by myself. Because
Hmm.
all the other problems that can happen out of like comedy, like a normal person getting offended and an audience member getting affected, like you riling like the left, you can take care of that yourself.
Correct.
Yeah.
When this happens to you, you realize that you need like actual representation and
Yeah.
to get that
I
voice.
think I think this was my issue with Sumedh for a very long time. I did not like his. I mean, I liked his comedy, which was fine, but like I remember this one time he cracked an abortion joke, which is I don't have a problem with jokes at all. But after that, he made like another tweet talking about, oh, the left will. I think that tweet was also going viral. That the left
Yeah.
will. What tweet I'm talking about.
Yeah, I do.
So
Hmm.
comparing the cancellation of the right versus the left, and
Yeah. Yeah.
and I was just thinking like there is no comparison between somebody saying some shit to you versus anyway. But I get your point. Also, I gave this example some time back, which was about Joe List, who's another comic who I really like in America. I was watching Joe List puts out these behind the scenes like the green room footage or whatever, and in that he cracked literally an identical joke to the incest joke that these guys.
Right.
But
Yeah.
it was like the reaction to that was like like just a slight blow from the nose, like a chuckle.
Yeah.
Like nobody. Do you think a problem also is? I'm not saying that'll, that the problem of whether being arrested and all that, that's a separate thing. But just audience cultivation is also a problem where, where it's like, oh, I cracked a lot of comedy, at least around Latent, was like, it wasn't about the joke. It was more about he said that, and now we all have to go, like that. It wasn't. There is no. There is no baseline normal that, oh, okay, yeah, this is all, fun and games, and we're just kind of here. Do you think that's just a time problem? It's not been long enough that this industry has been around?
It's not a time problem. I think it is largely okay. I always like tying things to economics, and I always like tying things to what I think are systemic problems. I feel like the ability to understand why you are feeling upset exists with only a certain economic class in the country. This feeling, right, of why do I feel bad hearing something? Why does it trigger me? Why do I want to like scream with all my heart out that this guy, whatever he said, it's not right. We feel off. It can exist only and only when you have enough time in your life, not be thinking about other things. And I largely feel like this like giant idea of Indian culture that's often thrust down all our throats. It's to keep people who are poor happy, to know that they have something. And the moment that they then hear something that's provocative or outside the semblance of what they can process, everyone screams that, hey, it's against our culture. And there is a feeling of collective power that comes in to take down whoever has made you feel upset.
That's actually
I don't know. And this will never go away from our country. It will never ever go away until we cross a certain economic threshold where people are not getting like educated to just get a degree, but educated to actually like engage with the world. This will absolutely never ever change.
No, completely. I mean, if 80% of the country is, feeding themselves on free grain that the government is supplying, so I mean, there is no.
Dude, I'm telling you, like my uncle is one of the most, like I think he's one of the finest artists that I know. He has spent the last 20 years of his life painting the Lord Ganesh. Okay, that's his thing. And what I like and deeply admire about, he's a big bhakt and he's a big Ganesh bhakt. What I deeply admire about the man is, despite his preconceived love and devotion towards the god, he is willing to change the artistic form of the god, which a lot of people don't do. Like for him, his devotion still like ties into the artistic change of how he sees an image of a god that he truly, truly believes in. So for the first 10 years of his life, he painted him very realistically. And then for the last 5 years of his life, he tried to do modernism. So he tried to like draw Ganesh in what is a modern societal way. And I do not know a bigger bug than him. But the moment that happened, the right wing came after him as well. They were like, this
Hey, actually, this is a good segue into your film, because Sumedh had made a film, I think last year or last to last year, called Vinchu, which was it was a political satire, if I may call it that. And it was a wonderful short film. I've watched it it was at Mami, it was at DIF, it was at Kashish Film Festival, and any others that you wanna name?
No, I did these three.
Right.
Yeah, it was like a really nice experience making it.
And yeah, I'm getting some sense of that from this story that you said as well. I mean, I don't want to give away the film. Oh, by the way, do you plan on releasing the film at all online?
I mean, I wanted to release it on Kamra's channel, so
I mean,
I don't think that's happening anytime soon.
Hey, best time to get eyeballs is right now.
It's not happening for sure. This is the last talk I had with him. He was like, hey, I'll think about it. Like, I'm just worried something happens. I don't want to be responsible for paying legal fees if something goes wrong with your film. And I was like, buddy, I'll pay them. Not a problem. Just
live by the sword, die by the sword, man.
I swear. Now, I'll have to give Grover a call.
Oh, yeah. Dude, he had the funniest reaction to the Samay thing as well. because he
Yeah,
had that whole
exactly.
set and he was like कि जो लोग इतने साल से ये लोग मेरे को बोल रहे थे कि पॉलिटिकल कॉमेडी मत करो, बंद करवा दे, जो बोल रहे थे उनका बंद हो गया और
Yeah,
मेरा
yeah.
अब तक चालू है,
Kamra was
which
so
is really
gracious with
fun.
me, and where he was like, "No, man, I don't think it's a good idea." And like the next week, I saw like an Anand Patwardhan film release on his channel. I was like, "Oh, this is my competition. I'm
Yeah,
not."
correct.
Yeah.
But yeah, there was I can cut this out if you would like me to, but like there was a scene in that film where a guy who's a sort of, sympathetic to right-wing artist, and he gets accidentally beaten up by similar
Yeah,
goons as we just saw.
yeah.
One of them, Delzart, shout out, friend of the show.
Shout out.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so
Our collective muse.
collective muse. Yeah, I think
Yeah,
without
yeah.
Delzart, I don't think any of us are filmmakers practically.
Yes.
Yeah, I
So
have
yeah,
started writing new scripts, keeping him in mind
keeping it.
now.
Yeah,
One day
exactly.
I will quote him like Scorsese does.
Exactly. So yeah, and that guy gets. Is it coming from that? Did that scene come from this story that you just told us of your uncle?
A little bit, yes, but I actually find the way like the right wing processes like I guess what is an insult to their feelings of art versus the left. I love that difference. And left it's often like very ideological about like the nuance of what you said versus what you should have said.
Right.
But I actually find it kind of interesting that they don't like a modern interpretation of even the subject matter that they really like. Like even with Adipurush, the moment
Yeah.
Hanuman became like a swearing Hanuman, or like
Hmm.
there was like a visual change to images that they hold very dearly in their head, right? They were like,
Correct.
no, none of this.
But do you think it's reactionary to because whenever these right wing people, I've heard them kind of criticize these uh, representations. They're like दूसरे के करके दिखाओ,
हाँ.
तुम उनके में करके दिखाओ तब जाने. मतलब I at least while I was growing up, maybe this is just nostalgia or whatever, but I feel like it's become worse now because it is reactionary in my opinion. But I might be wrong.
I think it's also become worse because like everyone has a voice right now. Very easy to like say that out loud. But I feel like in the mid 1850s especially, like the images that have really stayed with us of what Hindu gods and goddesses should look like,
Yeah.
solidified by Raja Ravi Varma, and later like
Correct.
have now morphed into even like how actors and actresses would sort of like be in a decade of Bollywood. And those are what our people consider as how the god should be shown.
Yeah.
And now tweak that. Like if you do a South Park version of like an Indian god as a rat, that's not
gonna
at
work.
all.
There's a very good book on this. I remember since you mentioned it, specifically to that time period. This is a book on the Gita press.
Yeah, I was about to Akshay Mukul.
What is the name?
Yeah,
What is the name of the book?
I
Gita
am
Press
not
and the
sure.
making of something.
Yeah.
Gita Press and the making of something. It was on. I haven't. It's on my Kindle, but I have not read it. I heard the episode on Seen and Unseen, where he had shown up and he was talking about the Gita Press. You know about the Gita Press?
No, what is it about?
Gita Press is the most influential publication house in this country, where they basically publish the Ramayans and the Mahabharats and the Gitas.
All of them, Gitas.
All the religious texts that exist in all, if you have mandirs in your house, the ones that existed, they're most likely from the Gita Press. Yeah.
And it's all from Gorakhpur, I think.
Yeah, in UP.
Which is, in UP, which is Yogi Adityanath's constituency, I feel. Yeah.
Where he also had his mutt. Yeah.
Have you read the book though? Are you reading it right now?
I have read
Kindle पे मैंने पढ़ी नहीं. हाँ.
काफी कुछ साल हो गए पढ़े हुए, but it basically talks about what Sumedh just mentioned, that it codified how gods look for India.
This is so interesting because Hinduism by definition has no codification of these things, right? These are all stories open to interpretation. But it's almost
the criticism of like a religion with no clear form, right? It's that you can twist anything you want out of it.
Yeah.
And like often more than not, like the Mahabharata is my favorite book of all time. Read it like 100 times. And I really want to adapt it at some stage in my life. I have not seen like an adaptation of the Mahabharata.
Get in line. Get in line, bro.
Get in line.
I can't think of an adaptation where like even Draupadi is like a super dark woman. And that's literally what her name means, Krishna.
Yeah.
That form will never change. Like you make Draupadi that right now, and there will people will have problems.
Wasn't
Yeah.
that one from the Palace of Illusions is that very popular book, right? Which is from the
Huh.
perspective of Draupadi, I think.
Yeah.
I've
And
not read it though.
recently well
Shreya,
enough.
yeah, Shreya was reading it. I
Putra
haven't read
Banerjee.
it yet. Yeah.
Hmm.
Interesting. Do you guys want to move to some slightly less heavy topics a little bit?
Yeah.
Because I want to go back to a little bit of stand-up and a little bit of Sumedh producing short films as well. Both of these are
Yeah.
things that I think both our audience and us would love to talk about. But just starting off with stand-up, because I'm also a big stand-up head. I love watching it. And what are your favorite comics? Who are and how have they evolved over the years? Who are your current favorites? Who were your favorites when you started out? And what made you do stand up apart from general narcissism that everyone who wants to do stand up has?
I love the medium. I watched, I was working adjacent to it, like I was recording it for the longest
Hmm.
time. I used to work with the comedy club in Lower Parel, which was like literally Mumbai's most prolific comedy club
Right.
till it shut down. And I
Canvas.
recorded Canvas, yes. And I recorded the first of a bunch of comics in India, like Kenny and Daniel Fernandez.
Oh,
And
wow.
I saw them upload shit for the first time, and that
Oh.
got really viral. I worked with Veer for a year, who is one of my strongest mentors and truly a lovely man. I've not liked his style of comedy, a lot of specials and a lot of his specials, but man, like the guy has like I haven't seen a day where he won't wake up in the morning and write.
Oh,
And
wow.
he was always punctual. He was always great to work with. He would always pay on time, and he would always be very, very kind whenever I've worked with him. And I kind of I really appreciate that. I am all for artists who might not be at excellence, but who treat people around them way better.
Right.
And I think in the long run, it matters way more. I've really had my share of very douchebaggy people who feel like their art is the greatest thing that the universe needs.
And any names for us to cut out?
But also, when I was working at Buzzfeed, this is the edit point you should start from.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah.
I was working in a place called the Hive in Bombay, which was in Khar, and it is the most influential place in India for Indian comedy. So Hive had a Monday open mic, and at the time when I was working, that's 2015, 2016. On an average night, you could see like Kamra, Drideja, Tanmay, Aditi, Kaniz,
Wow.
all these people, like 10 of our most popular comics right now, all do like their newest material week after week, week after week, week after week.
Nice.
And Monday was always like a super boring day, so I would like stay behind, hear everyone's sets. And I did one dumb BuzzFeed video, which I really tanked, where we tried stand-up comedy for the first time. And it is not an invitation to type and see it, but
Thanks.
yeah, I kind of like figured, like I went on stage for the first time and I tanked horribly, but it did take away a little bit of the fright of going on stage. And I started in like 2017 and I got my first 5 minutes, which were decent. And I think the thrill of doing it was just knowing that on your day, right, you were as good as anyone in that room. Like you could be around a comic who's been around for 10 years and you would get the same applause breaks as him. And for that 30 seconds, you felt like, hey, I can do this. I can fucking do this. And then you realize that they do this like 8 times a day, like every single day. And when you're successful, say 1 time every 4, they're successful like 4 times out of 5. But it did give you the belief that if you do this enough, you can do it. And it really helped me a lot with like writing, in terms of just understanding like conversational humor. I also kind of feel like stand-up's the only craft in the world where feedback is instantaneous.
Yeah.
Like literally instantaneous, like with all the other stage crafts as well, like of like theater or stage arts as well, like theater, or you can say music. You can listen ambiently, you cannot react at that time, and you can process a lot later, but like a laugh is instant. And you know when a person is like faking a laugh, you know when they're hiding something from you, you know when they're pity laughing at you, you know when they're agreeing with the thought but not laughing with you.
You also know when they really
Really don't like you.
it.
Yeah.
And Yeah, which is
And
I agree.
tanking
Yeah.
really teaches you a lot about yourself. It's like super vulnerable. It's like tough, dude, to be super vulnerable on stage. And I've
Hmm.
always
Yeah.
thought of stand-up as like a play. Most of my friends disagree with me.
Hmm.
Like I think you can write any fictional nonsense about your life there and say it through a first-person point of view,
Mm.
and it's
Of
great. Like
course.
that's what you sell. You sell yourself in a different character through a
Yeah.
first-person point of view.
Dude,
So
that quote, in fact, has been not just for like stand up for me as a writer, just who's writing like screenplays. It's become very almost like an instruction manual for me. There was a quote I heard by I think I don't know who was it, Steven something. He said comedy is funny lies,
yeah,
and
yeah,
he
yeah,
just
really.
put it like so succinctly. And I just thought I kind of apply that to film now as well, where I'm
Yeah.
like, sure, this is an idea that is coming from me and this is something I feel very strongly about. I can just lie through my teeth and put
Yeah.
myself wherever, as opposed to before I heard that, where I would be very sort of shoehorned into one perspective that I'm trying to talk about. Now I can like make something and I might have almost nothing to do with it personally, or nobody can pinpoint what part of me
Yeah.
I've actually injected
Yeah,
into all the
yeah,
lies
yeah,
that
for
I've
sure.
embellished it with. No, for sure. That I think that is the best approach. I feel.
Yeah, a lot of comics I know truly believe that it should be about yourself, and I guess there is a school of thought that where
Mm,
that I can see the merit in it, which is when I've truly talked about some of my biggest insecurities in a very honest way. It is fulfilling in a way that writing something fictional isn't. But I
mm,
think truly great art and comedy comes when you can make what is the most mundane part of your non-flash
mm,
life funny for other people. And if
fair.
you truly get them to empathize with your day as like a bank clerk or as like
Hmm.
a person sitting at home trying to uh, like do a desk job, I think that's the true genius of it,
Right.
where you are so comfortable like knowing how dumb your silly life is that you can
Hmm.
solve. And I don't know, like some people can do it really, really well. To answer your original question, in India I really like Uruj, and I'm a very, very big fan of um I like Kunal, I like Varun, I I love Tarang, who's one of my closest friends, and
Right.
he is like I'd seen his one of his initial open mics and I knew that he was going to make it. And I think he's like a great new voice out right now. Silly. He
Hmm.
almost does like Monty Python humor on stage.
Yeah,
Okay.
I've heard a lot about this guy. No, actually, from another friend who used to be a comic. I think, shout out Snigdha. She was
Oh
also a
yeah.
comic in the Pune scene. So she told me about this guy, where
That was
she said he was
phenomenal,
very
dude.
funny.
He's so
Yeah.
good. And abroad, I've always loved Chappelle, and I've loved, like he got me into comedy, and
Oh wow. Yeah. The first those two specials, I feel like
yeah,
everyone has
for what
watched
it's worth and killing them
Killing
softly.
Them Softly. Yeah.
Ah.
Correct. Very cool.
But
What do you think about President Day Chappelle? The one getting Elon Musk on stage and stuff.
he is my Kanye.
Yeah.
I will find ways to defend him. I'll be like, okay, man, he's had a hard life. He was started doing this when he was 14. Cut him some
Yeah.
slack. So yeah, I mean, like, I don't think he needs to prove a point, but I
Hmm.
feel like he feels the need to. Um, yeah, but it's at some point you're like, come on, man. Like
Correct. Yeah.
you
I
don't need
think
an eight
Bill Burr.
special.
Don't die on these hills. Nah,
Yeah.
some hills.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. The SNL material is still amazing. Like he'll still
Ha.
pull
Every
out
now
like
and then.
great monologues, and then he'll come back
Mm.
to transgenders at some point, and you go like, ah,
Yeah.
fuck.
Yeah.
Here is Dave Chappelle, the uncle, back now.
Yeah.
But weirdly, we saw Bill Burr. I saw Bill Burr live in Bombay for the first time.
Oh yeah.
Oh, how was that?
Uh, it was I don't know who he was. Basically,
What?
Oh.
I was working with AIB at that time, and they had just uh, started the hashtag AIB Desh Ka Kalank after the roast on
Oh.
that
Wow.
Oh
day where
damn.
Bill was supposed to perform. And it was Arati Mittal who had said he's a great comic, you should come and watch him.
Hmm.
So my friends and I, like, it was like an entire OML show basically. Like half the audience were just stand-up comics.
Comics, yeah.
And everyone that is popular and relevant right now was in that one room and almost felt like students all there to take notes for a lecture. So at some point, Bill caught a whiff of this because he asked a couple of people, "Hey, what do you do?" And they said, "Hey, I'm a stand-up comic." And then he asked the next guy, "So what do you do? What do you do?" And he also went,
He's
"I'm
like,
also a stand-up comic." So Bill just went at one point like, "How many people here are stand-up comics?" And like 50 people raised their hands. Like, okay, kids, what you got to do with the setup is he had also just come to India and he had seen a kid take a shit on the road, an experience that
Yes.
scarred him so much on that day. It became like a bit in a special that year.
Yeah, you know
Damn,
where
dude.
where I heard that first and how I found out he was in India was because I used to at back then listen to the Monday morning podcast on
Yeah.
Monday. So he in that he spoke about this whole exactly what you just said. This whole thing he spoke about that, and he said that he saw a baby take a shit on the street and then go behind some Mercedes, and he's like, that was the craziest moment of my life.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think very I think he's taken up that role now, that Carlin arc that
Yeah.
a
You saw
lot of
his latest
comics.
special?
I haven't seen the special, but I've seen what he's said around the special, and like he's pretty much one of the few comics who's still not in a right-wing Rogan pipeline right now,
He
and
feels
he's
like a left liberal hero in the special.
yeah,
And it
man.
feels like the dumb women are like whores and I hate them jokes that he does in
Right.
the last 10 minutes. He's
Right.
got them in just to like be a little on brand
Yeah.
after 50 minutes of like being a populist voice.
You know what this reminds me of? This is Slavoj Zizek during 2016 election. Okay, had said Slavoj Zizek all kinds of problematic now, but like whatever. Back in the day, he had said when the whole Hillary versus who should go up against Trump thing was
Trump
happening,
and Hillary.
whether it should be Hillary or should it be Bernie, right? And Bernie obviously the more progressive, more
More socialist.
obviously more socialist perspective and more populist also, actually way more than Hillary. So he
Yeah.
was asked this question and he sort of turned this entire audience against him because he said all of you guys are saying that it should be Hillary because we can't have another straight white male. He's like a straight white old man who's a Democrat. He's like, it should be fucking Bernie because he has all these ideals and he is a straight white male old man, because that is, you should weaponize that. What is wrong with you? And I
Yeah.
agree with him. Now all of this makes sense. Look at what Kamra is doing. I think Kamra can do all the, if he was a Muslim comic, right?
Hmm.
I don't think it would even he would be able to do even this stuff what he's doing right
Yeah.
now, where he's sort of doubling down.
That is not happening for sure.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I think he also, because it's part of his comedy as well, where he talks about, being an upper caste man or being a Hindu man,
Yeah.
and sort of if you can use that, then nothing better
Yeah, I
than
think he
that,
does
right?
it right.
Yeah.
I think he does it pretty right. Have you
Yeah.
guys seen the Blue Material people?
I have not yet, but I have
That
to.
lineup is great.
Yeah. Yeah. I've seen Manal's video though. Yeah. I've seen his
Yeah,
video.
but
Yeah.
Manal is great to see live. And I think my favorite thing about watching a Blue Material show is
Hmm.
seeing a bunch of really upper caste, like very woke people go to that show
Yeah.
expecting it to be discourse about caste for an hour. And then Manal just comes in and does some dumbass dick jokes for like half an hour. And he's done.
That's actually amazing.
Yeah,
I would,
I love it.
I know
That's a
nothing
great
about
lineup.
this.
Even the queer rated
Yeah.
lineup is phenomenal right now. If you guys take a chance.
Bharat, you were saying
I
something?
don't. मैं कह रहा था, I have not even heard of this, like this
Um,
person or this group or whatever.
Okay, so we have two, like for context, we have like two lineup shows that have been created by two minority voices in the comedy scene. The first is queer rated comedy, which was done by Naveen Narona. And it was the
Okay.
first queer lineup in India. And I think it's incredibly important. And it's fucking hilarious. Um, every city that Naveen does, he gets two new local queer comics from there and
Very
he
cool.
gives them time to riff. Like, no problem. If you're bad, but do it. Like, just
Hmm.
attempt to talk about. And I have seen over this property build over time, and it is one of the nicest places to get yourself acquainted with what queer culture can be in India. And Manal did an all Bahujan lineup, which was called Blue Material.
Okay.
and he does it with another phenomenal comic called Ravi and
Called,
another comic
sorry,
called
called who?
Ravi
Ravi. Okay.
and Ankur, and they are great, all of them when they perform together as well.
Okay. Okay. I'll check them out.
Yeah, you guys can watch it since y'all are in India right now.
Yeah.
Sorry to rub it in
Yeah.
again.
Yes. Dude, I see fucking videos of Bombay, like my street where I live, and the entire place. And I have asthma. I know Sumedh also has asthma. Shout out,
Shout out.
gang. Yeah, gang.
Cigarette in one hand, pump in the other.
Yeah, man, that's the life. I made a short film like this actually. Himangshu and
Yeah.
I did once.
Which
Uh,
one?
there was, in SMC we used to have this assignment where you're supposed to make one
Then short.
silent
Yeah,
short film, one with
Yeah,
sound. So
yeah.
this was Himangshu and I and Naina, who's also a director now,
Oh
and
shit,
Mansa. The
good.
four of us made this like just a very stupid, dumb stoner film for 2 minutes where I played a guy who has a cigarette, and then the next shot I have like an inhaler.
Yeah.
So
I
yeah,
remember that shot the
Uh,
most.
yeah.
Yeah.
it's
So.
like we were not supposed to have any dialogue in it. We were only supposed to use like sound,
Yeah,
Sound.
I
right?
remember, I remember.
So it's all
Mm.
just like people tripping in a room
Yeah,
with
in a
with
bathroom.
sound
And
in a
yeah.
bathroom.
Yeah.
Hey, Himanshu, you also made that other stoner short? Was it something Mendak something?
Yeah,
Pune comment.
Oh
Socio
shit,
Economic.
dude, that was so much fun. Fuck. I randomly remembered it a couple of days back.
dude, Kune ka
Yeah.
Mendak is how Himangshu and I also became friends. I remember
Oh, really?
after watching
I
that.
think back then I used to like come up with stories very well, and I used to like visualize them, and I could imagine them so vividly that I could
You feel
make
like you've
them.
lost it a little right now?
Yeah. I
Really?
kind of I don't like imagine so much anymore, so it doesn't come to me.
Okay, but do you feel like maybe it was an environment of just like kids everywhere around you watching movies every single day that
Definitely.
contributed to it?
Definitely. Yeah. When we were in college watching movies all the time, we were tripping, but without drugs. We were just like
Hmm.
Yeah,
high.
I know what you mean. But
Yeah.
I miss that part of college so much, dude,
Yeah,
like where you got an idea on a Thursday and by Friday you were like, yeah, well, let's fucking shoot it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
like now
I
I'm like,
loved that. Yeah. And now
now,
we can't people, money, this, that. I don't know
and
yeah.
what is
not even
happening.
that, like I'm just like, it can't be that hard. We're professionals at this right now.
Yeah.
It
No, you're
shouldn't
right.
be. We should have that force in us to just
I
go
think
and make whatever we want.
the problem is ambition. The problem is back then it was like, okay, pick up a camera, pick up a mic, fuck all sound, fuck all whatever. Now we're like, अच्छा फेस्टिवल भी भेजना है, अच्छा ये भी कुछ
Hmm.
होना चाहिए इससे, should I
अब कर ही रहे हैं तो
कुछ ये
अच्छे
भी
से करते
हाँ
हैं.
कुछ करना, अच्छा अगर 50,000 खर्चे कर लिए तो 20 और कर लेते, मतलब
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
हाँ.
this thing
Dude.
that
Just
is the
triggering at
fucking
this
problem.
point.
Yeah, so this
ऐसे
is
ही करते
me
करते
every
3
day.
लाख लग जाते हैं.
3 लाख लग
Buddy,
गए हाँ.
I produced a film for my friend Rayat last
हाँ.
year, in Kashmir. The film that
Rayat
Rayat,
Kazi, very good
yeah,
filmmaker, yes.
he's a phenomenal filmmaker, and
Yeah.
he was the default professor in my class. Um,
Okay.
like he is the first person my age I remember who has taught me more about films than like he knew enough at that time.
Mhm.
Wow.
And Rayat would not drink or smoke. So if you wanted to hang out with him, you had to do it in his house on his terms, which was while having chai.
Hmm.
And the favorite thing, my favorite like thing about going to his place is he could have Khoon Mari Mang playing on TV, or he could have like Breathless or like
Mhm.
whatever. Like the guess was like, what is this guy watching today? And what will the mood be in the room
Very
accordingly?
nice.
Right.
So must have watched like so many films with him just over that time.
Mhm.
But he is like the one person who is like the exact opposite of me, where that's it for him. That's all he does. Like he
Hmm.
will sleep, breathe, talk, write, eat films. That's it. There's
Mhm.
no other ground.
A lot of the people who are in the group, the WhatsApp group that we have, they are like that.
Even
And
now?
yeah,
For WhatsApp
So,
group, we have to contextualize this.
shout out to them.
To
So,
No, we have to tell Sumedh what the group is.
uh,
It's the DissContent WhatsApp group. How we keep this podcast alive, how we pay our
Hey.
Zoom bills, is we have a
yeah.
paying membership and we have a buy me a coffee page. Whenever you become a member of the channel, we add you to this uh, DissContent WhatsApp group, which has over 65 people. There are
Yeah.
conversations on movies, happening 24
24/7.
hours.
Hey, that's
Okay.
amazing.
And
Yeah,
these
and
are not people in film. So they're not like coming with some ulterior thing. It's just like people mad about movies. Bharat, you were saying something, sorry. Yeah.
no, I'm saying most of them are haters. Like anyway,
Yeah.
Yeah.
most of the
So
times
they
it's like a trailer that is
Yeah.
released, and then it's just shitting on it. ये क्या है? ये क्यों
Yeah.
ऐसा है? मतलब that's the energy right now. But
What
yeah,
is
no, I
loving
like it.
films if not hating
Yeah.
90% of them, you know?
Exactly. So and I kind of see that cycle, right? When we were also young, I mean, yeah, हमारे जमाने में
Yeah.
हम लोग का भी वही cycle था ना कि ये क्या बकवास है?
Yeah.
Why is this so bad?
Yeah.
And then cut to like now.
But you know, you guys are so lucky that you all could do this fearlessly back then. Like, I held off making a film for 8, 9 years only because I was like so scared of doing it. And I'd never directed one in college because again, like I just saw people constantly who were better than me, like do it better. And I feel like if you do it that young, it takes out so much fear away from your head of like just visualizing that full process.
Yeah.
And I feel like so many dumb mistakes I made like while shooting my first right now, I would have eliminated out if I had just done like even a shitty one in college back then. And I would have
But sorry, please
no,
continue.
please say no.
No, I remember one short film and I don't know if it was yours, but that also keeps coming back to me.
I know which
Which
one you're
was
talking about.
which one?
The two, Sumedh and one, somebody, they're facing each other under a tree, and then
Yeah, that one.
then it's
Noah
like it's
team,
about
guys,
cannibalism.
It's
let's
about
not.
no. I'll tell
Firstly,
you what. I'll tell you what it is about. As far as I
Breakup,
remember.
I know
right?
what it's.
Yeah. But why I like it also, I'll tell you that because it's about intrusive thoughts, right?
Yeah.
It's about intrusive thoughts before intrusive thoughts was a thing, right?
Yeah.
So I always kind of when I'm writing also, I do that where I'm like, okay, I'm writing about myself or my experiences, but let me for a few moments indulge myself, right? Let me be my most intrusive thought. And Aditya is nodding, smile like with a
Because
smile
I've
because
read
he's very
all his fucking intrusive thoughts. Yeah.
I
yeah
find it batshit crazy that college allowed me to make that. And that was
yeah. No, it was
and
cool, man. It
It was
was really
damn
really
cool,
cool.
maybe it
and
was
it
cool, but I wish there had been someone with some iota of like, you know, some basic knowledge about narrative screenwriting who had just sat me down and told me back then that just because you want to be edgy for 3 minutes does not mean that this project needs to be captured on like on actual memory. And yeah, like, it was fun making it or whatever, but like
Yeah.
insane that they allowed me to do it
Yeah.
and
no, but
graded me on it.
yeah, but it's so nice. It stuck with me.
Yeah.
I remember that very nicely.
Thank you.
Yeah.
The whole thing.
I don't
Um,
think I've watched this, so I will need
I'll
one of
send
you
you
to
a
so to send
2 minute
me a
thing.
link.
We'll have
Yeah.
to. Is it online?
Yeah, but I've made it private for now.
Please
So
send us a
please
link.
share the link.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah,
share the
we'll
link.
Yeah.
But
put
like
it
for
on the
context, like
notes. Yeah.
they had said that you all have to make films. I was like, I'd just seen a Chris Marker short film with like it was made in photos. I was like, I will tell a photo story. This medium was made with photos in the beginning. I will use photos.
8 by 10 tasveer. Yes.
Yeah.
By the way, I want to
Good.
cast doubt on him what Himangshu was saying some time back. He's saying he's lost, he's just lost that narrative thread or whatever. This guy has made one movie a year, every year.
Yeah.
Okay, way
Yeah,
more than
Himangshu, what
all
the
of us.
fuck?
Yeah, this is all bullshit posturing. He's made Much
I
Raja
know.
very recently,
Yeah,
which is very
dude, I was
funny.
just about to
Yeah.
ask, didn't you make that was pretty well visualized, dude. Shut the
Yeah,
fuck up. Like a lot of thought
Agreed.
had gone into it.
yeah.
I did put in all, I feel like. I mean, the best.
Hmm.
And then after that, I think I changed a bit. अब मैं ना उतना ambitious नहीं हूँ. And I
Yeah,
feel,
I feel this way myself.
and it's like I don't want to do it to prove a point. I think that Macharaja had a bit of that. And now I want to do, if I ever come back to it, I'll do it properly, and it should be like a good enough idea and a good
Hmm.
enough project. And maybe that's what's stopping most people, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I've thought about coming back to Mumbai once and like, just sitting with you guys and just making something. I only stop myself. I'm like, nahi hoga.
May I ask you all a slightly personal question? Actually, a twofold question. You
Yeah.
all
Please,
all
please.
work with y'all all work with each other like a bunch, right?
Yeah.
How do you guys stop like the personal jealousy of each other's work like affect your relationships? And also, what is it like to be friends and like make stuff for each other for y'all? Like, is it trying? How do you all deal with like microaggressions, or how do you continue to be friends? Because the last film that I have made has really like touched some nerves for me.
Fuck you, Swaraj. This was aimed at you. No, I'm
No,
I'm
no.
kidding. I'm kidding.
He's my saving grace. I meant Rayat.
Oh shit. Okay.
Who
Uh,
is there? So if I may,
Yeah.
I don't have. I don't think because I'm not in Mumbai and I'm not trying to become a filmmaker. I feel like I can. I don't have those thoughts only. Like the last time I came to Mumbai and I made a movie with these guys, I wanted to have a good time with them, and I planned it almost like a vacation.
Oh, sweet, nice.
Yeah.
Uh-huh. And maybe Bharat and Aditya can talk about.
I think Bharat and I are too sort of mutually dependent financially when it comes to
Yeah.
screenwriting work to let these petty thoughts come in the way. Because that would mean that we also don't, at least me more than him, does not have work anymore, and sometimes from me to him also. So it's,
Yeah.
I think that
समझ
is
में ही नहीं आया
partially
मेरे को
the
पता है
thing.
क्या हुआ
मैं
Like,
बताता हूँ.
अच्छा नहीं
We are already working, so like we are working on two things right now as we speak,
yeah,
which are
हाँ
just basically,
हाँ
I want to say,
commercial
I don't,
projects.
yeah,
Commercial
commercial
projects is,
project.
let's put it like that. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't want to, yeah, basically.
Yeah.
तो हम लोग already इतने entrenched हैं that I don't think there is a factor of jealousy. I also feel like, to answer what Sumedh, to what he asked is, मुझे ऐसा लगता है कि I'm a little more secure now in terms of what I have done already.
Hmm.
So I'm more secure that way. So if Aditya, for example, does better than me in certain things or a certain aspect, I'll be happy. It won't be, uh, a problem for me at least.
And can you all still give each other like super frank feedback about whatever you
Yeah.
need?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is, I think that is something I was about to say, that that is the reason why I think we're able to do
Yeah.
this. For example, I get jealous. Okay. I get jealous of good work,
Hmm.
but I also more often than not voice it. So it's, I think there is also that, like, I will tell them that, like, bro, this was fucking amazing. I feel
Nice.
Yeah.
bad now. Now I want, like, I told Himangshu at, like, after Mach Raja that, fuck, dude, it's been high time now. I need to fucking make something. And that's why
Yeah.
I think I also got a little more fired up for Happy Couple after that, you know? So
Yeah.
I think, but I will voice it if I feel something.
Hmm.
Also, I think because we do the podcast, frankly, even when we started the podcast, the pitch to each other was that when we were in college, we used to talk about movies every day, right? And
Hmm.
I feel like a lot of people have, we started this in 2018, something like that. So I remember in that short period alone, I saw so many people from our batch, people who we worked with, people who we knew in college. I felt like everyone sort of, the point of doing this, right? The point of making movies or whatever is, a lot of it is to just have fun with your friends at the end of the day, and work with people you like and talk
Yeah,
about cool concepts and
totally.
try to execute them.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people are losing sight of that because they were not watching movies together. They were not talking about it with each other. They did not know each other's current artistic wavelength, even if they are
Right.
hanging
Right,
out.
right, right.
I feel like the
Hmm.
podcast really helped. Personally, I can say that for me, fuck the audience, and I love you guys, but uh, just for my personal this thing, that okay, I'm still doing this. There's still an ongoing discussion between us, which keeps us pretty clear on what we're thinking artistically. I
Yeah.
feel like that helps a lot. Otherwise, yeah, man, it gets pretty hairy on set. I feel,
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah. Like that fine balance between being a professional and being
yeah.
like trying to manage someone you also love and you want
Yeah.
good things for. It's such a like it can be a real problem at times. I spent like a month trying to make a film in Kashmir last year. And like by the 29th day, I was like, you know what? This is
By the way,
maybe
that
like a
that film was in Tasveer Film Festival, right? What is it called? Let's.
yes, it's called Orphanage of Memories. And I think Rayat made like a phenomenal film about grief in Kashmir. And I think he's really great, like at this idea of making like what a social horror could be, and I think we should
Okay.
kind of make that. And
So
yeah,
what's happening? Sorry, yeah.
it's going for IFLA right now, so I'm quite excited.
Acha. Nice.
I mean,
But yeah.
I feel way more of a producer than a director first. So
Hmm.
whenever I see anyone in my immediate circle have any sort of success, for me it's like, okay, my web is now going to extend.
Yes, yes.
I don't care about the I love it when like someone around me is like doing better. For me,
Of
it's like it's more of a
Dude,
habit.
this industry works. This is that caste class privilege that we have.
Truly,
It is that.
truly.
It is the more
Yeah.
it spreads, the more. I mean, it's fucked up when you think about it that way. But I can also say, like, while we were doing a happy couple, it was. I remember. So I paid everyone. Okay, except for Bharat. but, but I paid everyone. Uh, all right. Bharat knows that he has my unconditional unpaid support also
Yeah.
whenever he fucking decides to make his movie. But um, but the thing is, I paid everyone, and I know at that same time, you know, and I won't take any names, but somebody else was shooting a short film, much more, wealthy than me, and they were not paying people. It was much more ambitious than our scale. And I feel like for example, Ijaz is a friend of mine. Delzard is
Yeah.
a friend. Delzard refused to fucking take money. Like he was at that.
Hmm.
I feel like there is this thought in indie that you should just get your friends together. I feel like if you pay people, that simplifies a lot of things. That
I
puts,
do it too.
yeah,
I think people
yeah,
need to be paid something. Like,
yeah.
Hmm.
And also for the selfish reason of maintaining that professionalism, maintaining
yeah,
that thing of, okay, friendship is one thing, but we are also here to just
Yeah.
do a job, and as long as we're all sort of living up to that and fulfilling that, it's all
And
good.
it also makes it easier when things get hard, right?
Hmm.
When
yeah,
you're on your 15th take and when some things are not happening the way you want, you
Yeah,
can go to them not as a friend but as a producer, right? That
yeah,
listen,
yeah,
we're
exactly.
here
yeah,
to
for
make.
sure. Like you signed up for this. Come on, let's
Yeah.
go.
Yeah. That has
Actually,
happened also. Yeah.
Yeah, of
in
course it does. It happened with me as
Mm.
well. And
Yeah.
I hate having to like switch from I guess the one thing that I don't like about making films without any money is just the amount of leverage people have over you in that full process.
hmm,
Mm.
Um,
Right.
where you constantly have to be like sugar nice. You constantly have to go like, hey, can we please come on, man, chalna, we'll use this camera. Come, it's fine. Um, and I don't know, like that part.
also, I think as a director, if you're a director and your own producer as well, like not your own producer but your own financier, and you got on all these people on the promise that it's a creative collaboration only, right? Then obviously they will feel the need to collaborate, and sometimes that will clash
Mm.
with you, and you will not want to collaborate anymore. You will
Yeah,
want to be a
Yeah.
dictator.
I agree. I totally
So
agree.
Yeah.
I think that also helps, because it's like if everyone's just there creatively, then they'll be like, hey, then I have a voice too, and then let's not do
Yeah.
it this way. I think, like for example, yes, I was an extra on a DFFB. DFFB is like idhar ka FTI hai. Their indie film shoot. Okay, indie feature film that they're shooting, and I was an extra on that, and there were like 20 extras, and it's being shot in a small bar, small crew. It was very fun for me to watch, like from a completely neutral, non-stress perspective, how a crew is working.
Yeah.
For a change, it was kind of cathartic. And also you can across cultures, you can spot who is who on a set. You would not have to tell me who the first AD is, and
Yeah,
I
yeah,
knew
yeah.
this
No,
was the person doing this. I could tell this person has an issue with this person, and they're not telling them that thing. I could
yeah,
tell
yeah.
that, like I could, and but everyone on this, like the extras, everyone's getting paid. So it was moving like such clockwork. Like I've not seen any
Mm.
set in India, at least at my level, work like that, because everyone's not always paid, or even if they're paid so little that, it's
Yeah.
people are a little more
And
flaky.
one end of it is one, or at least one end of it is up in the air, right? So either the producer has given you less days to shoot, either all of these. And
Hmm.
I've been part of big budget, like huge mainstream OTT productions, and it's always like we've we haven't gotten rest, right?
Yeah.
We don't have a turnaround day. Why? Because the producer said we only can shoot in these many days, and the director has agreed, and the first AD is losing their shit, and then it trickles down. Then somebody's getting shouted at, somebody's, all of that. So, and that is, I think, it boils down to lack of payment, right?
Yeah, lack of payment, but also labor laws somewhere. Like you can't
Yes.
fuck around with job in 12 hours. That's 12 hours.
Yeah.
I remember I was doing like this one docu series or something. I was a French cinematographer, and on his contract he had written that I will work for 12 hours a day. That's it. And after if you want me to do prep work for the next day, it has to be within those 12 hours. Like I won't do more than 12 hours of work. So
Dude, in India,
actually that one person's decision just saved like an entire crazy.
Correct.
Because he wouldn't come out of his room. Like if you kept him for 30 minutes more, he would wake up on the next day 30 minutes late.
Yeah.
But I guess that's the privilege of being white, right? Like you take your strong European sensibilities to a third world country, and people have to listen to you because that's why they've got you here.
Correct. Yeah.
In India, 12 hours is not 12 hours, it's 14 hours.
हमारे यहाँ concept होता है कि 12 से शुरू करेंगे.
हाँ, फिर फिगर करते हैं कैसे आगे जाना. Yeah.
Anyway.
I'm sure there are lots of deep cuts that we've opened up through this stretch of the conversation.
Silly moment of silence over there.
Yeah. But long story short, I think I also really value this. This is becoming a group therapy session, but like the fact that we've sort of kept this going since college.
I also think it's pretty cool that you guys have like continued making shit since college. It's very rare to find, and I don't think like my super seniors like Harshad who made Follower right now.
Yeah, of course.
They all work together, and
Yeah.
group is still pretty much the same filmmaking group from college.
Yeah, Harshad, Dhruv, Samyak, all these guys,
Maulik.
right?
Yeah, Maulik, Payne, all of them.
Yeah, very cool. I remember watching that documentary, that came out right when we left college. Par Ek Din by Jaideep Varma.
Oh yeah.
Who's also been a friend of the show, Jaideep Varma.
Yeah.
But
he also made a really nice stand-up comedy documentary.
Yeah, I am offended. I am offended.
Yeah.
The grandfather documentary of stand-up.
Also released post AIB roast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember that. Jaideep Varma he's made I think Bharat Himangshu पता नहीं अब तक देखी है कि नहीं, but Bavra one, which was every time.
हाँ देखिए.
Every time.
One about Sudhir Mishra.
Yeah. In which band is it about?
अबे Sudhir Mishra. That is Indian Ocean अलग documentary है वो.
Sorry.
इस पे ध्रुव ने ही काम किया था मुझे
याद है. Assistant editor, I think, an assistant director. But
and I keep telling Dhruv that this is your best work.
but Bharat and I have this inside joke that like every 4 months, every 5 months, we fall out of love with filmmaking and we don't want to work in this shit industry anymore. And then like we watch like Baframan or something, and then we feel like okay,
then
maybe a
like,
little, yeah. Maybe the real films were the friends we made along the way, kind of an approach,
No, because in that he has a very specific line, right? Sudhir Mishra says that it's not the most talented people who make films. It's what
he said. He said this in the FTI ka lecture. Hey, it's not the smartest that make the films, huh? Don't be under that. It's the cleverest. It's something.
Yeah, basically what he's saying that those who stick around, basically.
Yeah.
If you're sticking around, you're sticking around, kind of a thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it has a lot of problems. But yeah.
Very quotable man, Sudhir. I think more quotable than film-wise, I would say.
Yeah.
Films, I think 1 or 2. Quotes, many.
So at the end of last year, I was doing like this directors roundtable with Netflix, and there was it was like Imtiaz Ali, a bunch of directors all sitting together, yapping away to glory. And they were like all friends. They were having such a great time. And they really felt like grown-up versions of like how we were in college, or like bitching each other out and stuff. And the name goes away from my head. Who made Sunchidiya?
Abhishek Chaubey.
Abhishek Chaubey was there, and we had asked him a question, which is like, when did you know that you were like good enough to like direct, or when did you know that you have it or you have what it takes? And he'd given such a great answer where he went like, I've seen such shitty work where I've been like, isse to behtar bana sakta.
Dude,
That is all of us.
I think everyone's like bare minimum. Like, I'm like, okay, if Netflix can give, Nadania or whatever the next shit movie that will come out soon is, whatever, how many ever crores, man, then even I can deliver that much to you. I'm pretty confident in myself. That much I can deliver at the minimum. Okay.
Yeah.
Like, no worries about that. Another
भाई
quote.
सलमान खान की नई फिल्म की ट्रेलर देखा तुम लोगों ने?
नहीं, please
मैं
tell
कल
us.
जाने वाला हूँ उसके लिए.
Oh,
Oh, what? मतलब to watch it?
Yeah, straight up.
Oh wow.
You know how starved I am
big
for films in Goa. I will watch anything right now.
wait, ट्रेलर अभी आया ना? रिलीज नहीं हो
ट्रेलर अभी
गई?
आया तो मूवी तो बाद में ही आएगी आई थिंक सम
पर
मंथ्स लेटर.
he is going for it. Sumedh is
अरे whenever it
what?
comes out भाई.
अच्छा. Oh, okay. I thought you were going for it now. Okay.
सिकंदर है
Okay.
मूवी का ट्रेलर का नाम, जस्ट देख लो. इट्स जस्ट लाइक बैड लाइटिंग, बैड कैमरा वर्क. अब तो वो भी नहीं हो रहा. लाइक पहले क्या था ना, लाइक इट लाइक वांटेड एंड ऑल वेज शॉट वेल एटलीस्ट
Decently, I would say.
डिसेंटली. अब तो all of it has gone out of the window ना.
You're saying
Yeah, earlier
earlier.
he would attempt to move a little, you know.
Yeah.
हाँ. एंड चलो एज एंड ऑल वी काइंड ऑफ
Age and all.
Stuck
Himangshu
again.
frozen again.
Did you all see Chhawa or what?
या मैं
Yeah.
या
Himangshu,
We
spoke about it.
watched.
we spoke about
We
Chava, yeah.
we spoke about Chava. We moved on.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was the journey.
I really want to
Uh,
see that John Abraham film as well that's come out. It looks so bad.
Diplo-
Can't
The
wait.
Diplomat.
Diplomat.
I watched the Diplomat. I've seen it.
Oh, कैसी थी
Yeah.
भाई? क्या मतलब कैसी थी तो
Surpri-
पता ही है, but
नहीं नहीं नहीं, don't take. Surprisingly not as bad,
Oh,
but I mean it has the whole nationalist the paint over it, but it's not a bad film.
Hmm.
Actually, what happens is, I'll tell you, the middle part of it is Kashmir Files.
Ah,
Like a whole,
Okay.
like a whole bunch of it is Kashmir Files, and then I don't know if I've become desensitized to it after having watched all these
All
films.
these movies.
So now maybe it's like I don't care anymore. So I can say कि अच्छा ठीक था. But if maybe an outsider or who's not been so desensitized will probably find it completely problematic. वो तो है.
Hmm.
I liked I don't know what I liked. I don't know.
when was the last time all of y'all saw a movie together?
Oh,
very good question.
I think
never.
all of us, it's been a while because Himangshu is not there. Bharat and I used to watch a movie
Yeah.
every 2 weeks or something in Bombay.
We watched The Menu together. If you guys remember, but Aditya, you were there. Right?
At my place only, I think we watched.
No.
नहीं,
I watched it with Himangshu.
Then I did not watch it.
Dude,
with you
did we
guys.
watch Killers of the Flower Moon together?
Yes,
नहीं, but-
yes.
हाँ.
No, that was during Mami. I think.
Himangshu तू था क्या? That was
मैंने
our...
अलग से देखा है यार. मैंने तुम लोग के
अरे
साथ नहीं
यार.
देखा.
नहीं
मैंने
देखा, कुछ नहीं
स्माइल
देखा.
यार तुम लोग के साथ देखा था कि स्माइल.
नहीं, मैंने तेरे साथ देखा था.
नहीं,
It's not. It's never been the three of us. I don't think we've
And
ever
the thing
watched
is,
it.
whenever we meet, we end up end up making all these plans. We'll do like a podcast. We'll shoot a podcast together. We'll do all these things. We end up just like sitting and drinking and just bitching about is basically what we end up doing 50% of the time. No, not really.
Let's call it a night, bro.
Yeah, I
I'm
think that was. Oh, we have to do recommendations before we go. We recommend one piece of anything: film, TV, comedy, music, whatever the fuck, article, book, that you would like to recommend for the DissContent podcast viewers.
Okay, I will tell you the three ones that are coming to my head.
Yeah.
Up top. The movie, there are two movies. One is called Goodbye Lenin.
Yes.
Which I really love. And there's another movie that's one of my favorites. It's called The Insult. It's a Lebanese movie.
Okay.
And it's one of my favorite movies of all time. I cannot tell you, you like when you start watching it, you have no idea what this is going to become. And the basic concept of the film is there's someone who's fixing a pipe in Lebanon, set around the Lebanese civil war between the Catholics and Muslims over there. Basically, there's a plumber who is like operating on road work, and he's trying to repair someone else's pipe, and the guy like breaks it down and he insults him.
Okay.
And what happens when that insult happens and how it just changes the course of the politics of the country in a butterfly
Ooh.
effect over the next like 2 weeks. It is sensational. I cannot tell you how much you'll enjoy it.
You know what
Yeah,
this reminds me
already
Yeah,
of?
can we
sold.
watch it?
This,
Is it okay, got it. Got
Yeah.
it.
yeah, the insult sounds amazing, but what it reminds me of is Nayak. Nayak में वो बस से उसको बच्चे को फेंक देता है और फिर वो riot हो जाता है ना. It's kind of
Oh,
it, it
right.
kind of reminds me of that a little bit. But yeah, what book are you talking about?
I read this great two again on top of my head. One is this book called Teenage Couple Have Fun Outdoors.
Okay.
It's one of the best dark comedies I've read recently.
Hmm.
It's set in Visakhapatnam, and it's just about uh like it's about a guy whose older brother gets caught on like a, a pornographic clip.
Okay.
Oh.
What happens, how it snowballs into their family. And I think like the way he's spoken about shame, especially about on the internet, and how
Hmm.
how it can change like the family structure when it happens to someone around you. And also like a very dislikable protagonist whose brother this
Okay.
happens to. So
Hmm.
Wait.
it's
Sorry. Please go ahead.
one of those great reads of like a slimy sort of storyteller with like a great incident.
What's it called and who's it by again?
It's called Teenage Couple Have Fun Outdoors. I'll tell you the name.
ठीक है, that I'm sure we'll
Yeah.
figure it out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
Nice.
Very cool. Goodbye Lenin would be my double recommendation. I recommend it to you guys. I hope you guys watch it soon. Please. It's
Yeah.
very cool. Bharat, your recommendations for the week?
Oh yeah, wait. I'm using that as my stand for today. Wait.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
bought this big Batman comic book collection from
Nice.
Bangalore. Yeah, and this is the inspiration for the 1960s Batman TV series, and it kind of this is called the Silver Age of Batman. And after reading or midway through reading this, I realized that the silver, bronze, gold age has nothing to do with quality. It's to do with when it came. So currently, I think the Bronze Age of Batman is going on,
Okay.
which this darker kind of Pattinson and Christopher Nolan kind of brought him into the real world. But before that, this is the Adam West wala Batman, and that is more goofy, more like campy,
That
and also
old school TV show, the Batman show that
yes.
like that.
So this really gives you how that came to be, how that Batmobile came to be. How did, now you see it, you think it's homoerotic, right? Almost between Batman and Robin and all of that. So where it started, I like that myth building because it gives you really clear insights into, okay, at that time, this is what people wanted to see, right? So there's a very clear leaning towards technology. So the bat cave is being constructed, all of that. So it's very interesting. It's a very good foundational thing if you are even remotely interested in Batman. So yeah, this is my recommendation.
Okay.
One more book I picked up. I can't recommend it because I've not read it, but Aishwarya has and she's liked it. It's called Ayako.
Ayako. Okay.
Yeah, this is by a very famous Japanese ये क्या कहते हैं
Manga
manga
artist.
yeah, one of the godfathers. I forget the name. He's also written Astro Boy, which
Oh
is
yeah. Very
yeah.
popular.
And this is, I think, Khanna, you'll like this because this is post World War II Japan,
Why
and
will
the
why will I like this? मेरे को समझा
I'll
नहीं
tell
है.
you,
हाँ
I'll tell you
हाँ.
क्योंकि तूने recommend किया था ना that anime or that ये
Grave of the Fire.
the Miyazaki movie,
Oh
Grave of the
yeah.
Fireplace.
No, not that. The Wind Rises. The Wind
The
The
Wind
Wind
Rises.
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 Okay. Got it.
Also
Yeah.
because you're interested in modern history, na?
Yeah, that's
So
true.
that's
वो भी
why.
सही बात. हाँ. Yeah.
So yeah. But I've not read it, so I can't recommend it anyway. These are the two books.
Himangshu, तेरे क्या recommendation है? I'm just pulling mine up because I forgot the name.
Um, I'm still reading The Golden Line, which I recommended last time, and
Right.
it's quite interesting.
Hmm.
So I would like to
Golden
recommend it to
Road.
you.
The Golden Road.
नहीं भाई,
Golden Road, William Dalrymple, मैं भी पढ़ रहा हूँ.
क्या बात कर रहे हैं, मैंने नाम भी
हमने
गलत बोल
बात
दिया.
किया था इसके बारे में.
हाँ
लास्ट टू
हाँ हाँ
लास्ट तेरा
हाँ हाँ.
लास्ट टू लास्ट एपिसोड में भी यही था तेरा रिकमेंडेशन.
अरे मैं एक ही बुक पढ़ रहा हूँ, अब मैं क्या करूँ. तो आई
ओके, सॉरी.
हाँ नहीं, I haven't caught up on much,
हाँ.
but I thought maybe you guys will. I'll watch that new Netflix.
Hmm.
It's a show, right?
Adolescence.
Adolescence,
Yeah.
Adolescence.
yeah.
Have you guys seen it?
Yeah,
I have, yeah. Oh, we
All
What
should
are
have
three
you?
of us
spoken
have, I
about
think.
it. Yeah.
sure. Yeah. It's a
It's
Yeah,
great show.
okay.
I really liked it.
it's good, right?
Yeah.
If we watch
It's
it,
good.
we
It's
can
a
talk
good show.
about
I
it
think
next.
it's very recommendable also. I would also recommend that show. Even though, I mean, we can discuss a lot of things
Yeah.
about it, but basic recommendation, I'm sure we can all recommend
Yeah.
that show.
Maybe
Yeah.
next episode, maybe we can sort of dive deeper into that. Um,
What
yeah.
is your
Nice.
recommendation?
I have two, three. Number one recommendation is the DissContent channel has a new video called My Berlinale Experience. Please go and watch my vlog. I've tried vlogging, and yeah.
It's actually really nice.
Hey, you watched it?
Yeah,
Hey,
it is.
Nice.
let's go. So yeah, that is also Sumedh's recommendation now, and also mine. First, go check that out before you watch any of these other things.
Yeah.
Second, my recommendation is a game called Thronefall. Thronefall is a very cool castle defense kind of game, which is sounds very, basic and very everyone knows those kind of stupid Insta ads that you get.
Mm-hmm.
But this is like a very, you'll have to get on Steam or something, and it's a very intricate castle defense game. It's like an indie game. It's very cool. Check it out. Another game I want to recommend is called News Tower. It has recently come out of no, it's still in early access. So it's called News Tower. It's basically you are in 1933. A newspaper in New York has gone broke, and you have
Ooh.
bought it, and now you have to run this newspaper. And it uses real events, and you kind of published stories, and then there are different things. Like if you want to increase your readership, you will have to publish a certain kind of story. If you want to get favors from the mayor, you'll have to publish a certain kind of story, which will allow you to grow your business more. Or you
Nice.
can choose to not do that and you will get punished. Like there's a mob, and the
Mm.
mobsters will come to your office and beat people up. Relatable, guys. If you if you say something against, if you report against them. So it's a very intricate management simulator kind of game, but it's very, very, very cool. So those two recommendations, and third is a podcast. Is basically, there's a podcast I listen to called Stavi's World. Stavros Halkias is a comic in the US. He's a
Yeah.
Greek American comic I really like. And he used to have a podcast that I used to listen to long ago called Calm Down with Adam Friedland and Nick Mullen. And they had sort of had this very sort of public, not public, but like very private falling out almost. People were suspecting that, and they stopped doing that podcast together. And he started his own podcast called Stavi's World. And now these two, after like some 150, 200 episodes of that show, they came on the new episode of this one, and it's very fun. So check that out. I think these guys are really funny. So yeah,
Nice.
those are my recommendations. But vlog, baki sab kuch fuck all hai, vlog dekho jaake please, and subscribe to the channel. Anything you want to plug, Sumedh, that of yours? Anything that people should
Yeah.
check out? You're also a tennis influencer, as we know.
Yeah,
So
that's the only thing I
yeah.
want to be in my life. How good is your Marathi, by the way, all of yours?
Good
Decent.
enough.
I can
Good
understand
enough.
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But if you
Same.
can, you should really watch Batatachi Char. It's India's first stand-up comedy special by Pula Deshpande.
Oh,
Oh,
It's up
yeah.
online on YouTube. Like his old publishers have put it up, and it's
Wow.
very cool.
phenomenal. Like it's literally modern stand-up done in the 60s, which he toured at Fringe later.
Oh, he went to the
Ah,
Fringe.
Yeah, he went to Fringe. He performed over
what
there.
is that?
He also wrote a travelogue about it in Marathi, which was also fucking hilarious and fascinating. Because
Very
all these
cool.
guys would like adapt English plays in Marathi, right? Or Hindi over here.
Hmm.
Like him, Vijay Tendulkar, and all of them
Hmm.
at that time. And they finally saw them being performed in English for the first time in England. So it
Wow.
was a
Wow.
big deal for them as well.
Bharat,
Um,
Fringe is Edinburgh Fringe. It's like this art festival that happens.
the
Acha.
oldest
Yeah.
running
Oh,
one, which
Yeah.
last year Uruj was the first Indian comic to
Oh,
win the
wow.
stand-up comedy prize over there.
Yeah.
That's
Um,
great, huh?
it's insane. Like
Very cool.
she was like Phoebe Waller-Bridge went to chill with her.
Yeah.
which was
Wow.
I saw that clip. That was amazing. I
insane.
remember I listened to a lot of podcasts. It's a problem. But there was this podcast last week, which is Anwar Pal and Kunal Kapoor, where
Yeah.
Anwar Pal was bitching about this. Basically, he was saying that he has been touring Fringe for the past 20 years. And he's like, now this one kid came and she won. And he's like, she had asked me, how do we go there? And he's like, from now on, I'm only going to give like shit advice. I'm going to send them to like some other country
Nice.
when they ask me for advice because this is not cool. How the fuck? Like, so yeah,
Nice.
that.
No, but Sumedh, I wanted to ask you about your food videos because I used to look forward to all the ones that you put out on your personal channel as well. Very interesting.
Thank you. I want to do like a version of them right now out of like
Nice.
bunch of footage that I've collected, but like a little more tuned with like political discourse or
Hmm.
also just want to fuck around with the format of the internet and
Yeah.
get them a little more bizarre and like
Hmm.
rather like have structure to them that is more internet friendly. Like some of these like kids when they make stuff when I'm scrolling away to glory, I'm just like, how the fuck did you even come up with that?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
How
for
would you
sure.
even do that? But what do I want to plug? I want to plug the new film that I produced called Orphanage of Memories, which should hopefully release this year. And my
Yes.
own film, Vinchu, which I should hopefully release this year as well.
On Kamra's channel or
On
somewhere
camera.
else. Yes.
Yeah, whoever I can beg
Hey, you
into.
can also screen it at Habitat whenever they reopen.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, true.
Fun.
Okay.
All right. Thank you so much for watching. That was episode 132 of the DissContent podcast.
Thank you for having
Thank
me.
you for coming,
Thank
Sumedh.
you.
It was really good to chat with you, and bye-bye.
Bye.